You're tuned in to RX Radio.
Guys, welcome back. Another episode of RX Radio. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, I do apologize. The autofocus seems to be giving us some issues. But if you're listening on Spotify and iTunes, thank you. Hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to sort out who's actually subscribing and who's just freeload listening. Do us a huge favor. Just hit that subscribe button if you're chilling on iTunes or Spotify. Today's episode, Dorian Hamilton, close friend of mine, owner of HD Muscle Supplements, alongside his sister Mariah and brother Noah. Dorian has been a huge part of the Canadian bodybuilding scene for well over a decade. I first heard tell of Dorian. He coached a friend of mine, Curtis DeLong, back when I was in undergrad. He owned a few supplement shops and then got into obviously owning Pure Muscle and Fitness, as well as HD Muscle. And also Pure Muscle Athletics. So Dorian was nice enough to sit down in the studio with us today, chat about his progression through business and bodybuilding and how he navigates, all three. Absolute killer when it comes to the business side. Great dude. You can definitely see the value behind the brands and the gym and just the passion that he has for the entire fitness community. To do all of that is one thing, and to do all of it while still actively competing is another thing entirely. So huge shout out for Dorian for everything he's done for me, for the brand, for the studio. For those of you who are unaware, the RX Radio studio is actually inside Pure Muscle and Fitness. If you guys are ever roaming around the gym, just take a run down that hallway, you'll run into us. That being said, we actually are hosting an upper body intensive seminar at Pure Muscle and Fitness May 14th and 15th. So I'll be traveling back to Toronto, to Burlington, to Pure Muscle to teach a 2-day intensive seminar. So if you guys are interested in that, registration is live on the prescript.com website under courses. If you go down to in-person stuff, it should be top of the list. Speaking of courses, Prescript Skill Acquisition, basically advanced programming, is up for registration. Currently, the semester starts August 25th. It's taught by your very own Killian Hamilton, and it's actually done in the studio as well. So really cool production that him and Kyle put together to do it live, plus labs, 8 weeks, just to reframe the way you go through exercise programming for yourself, for your clients. Extremely valuable tool, something that I lean on often. I actually have Killian do my programming. He's coaching me at the moment. So cannot state how important his thought process has been in helping me manage injuries and improve performance. So guys, do check that out. Cat on the keyboard. Not today, Nugget. Not today. So guys, do check that out. So with Pure Muscle and Fitness, we got the intensive coming up in Toronto. We have Skill Acquisition going live, or is live, which is starting April 25th. So do secure your seat for the beginning of that semester. With no further ado, Dorian Hamilton, owner, Pure Muscle and Fitness, owner, HD Muscle, all around just absolute killer. I'm a huge proponent of the phrase, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Thorough, diligent, well thought out. Dorian Hamilton, HD Muscle, Pure Muscle and Fitness. Guys, do check it out. Enjoy the episode. We'll see you next week. One of the first things I noticed when I came into the gym was the doormat.
Yeah.
By the old, V1.0 entrance.
The retro Pure Nutrition.
Right. And I was like, what is this? This doesn't, because everything else in the gym is on brand. Even when we first opened, all the plates were all Pure Muscle and Fitness. They had a big, the big sign up on the wall. All the equipment was, if it wasn't black, it was on its way to being powder coated, and everything was on brand. So I thought it really odd that I walked in and the first thing that I saw was this thing that wasn't Pure Muscle and Fitness. And it was
Pure Nutrition.
Right.
Yeah.
So explain that to me. What was I walking on there? Because that was a bit of history.
Yeah. So Pure Muscle and Fitness is the gym now. And the reason why we stuck with that name was because back in 2007, right out of high school, I was 19 years old. My brother and I was actually working a co-op. So my first and only ever job was a co-op in high school. Well, when I say job, I mean working for somebody. I never in my life did I work for somebody. Mm-hmm. And the only time I did work for somebody was a co-op for high school. right? So it wasn't really working for somebody. I was learning. So when I was there, we came across an opportunity. Basically, I had just almost graduated high school because I barely did, and I was done high school, and I was doing the co-op there, and the owners got in a lot of trouble. They got arrested for bad shit, guns, drugs. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And, they had a decent establishment there. And I was like, I called my brother and I was like, hey, Noah, like, what do you think if we take over this spot? It's set up already. It already has a little bit of clientele. That time was a Herx. And he said, let's do it. So we contacted the landlord, 19 years old, don't know a fucking thing about, anything.
Yeah, you're 19. Right? You know nothing about nothing.
My grandfather just passed away, and we my uncle and my parents inherited a little bit of money, and my dad helped us out, and we were like, you know what, let's do Pure Nutrition. So we're trying to think of cool names and stuff, logos, and we created Pure Nutrition, and so that was our first sort of legitimate business venture together. That's where it started with the nutrition store, and we opened up 3 locations over the next 5 to 6 years, and then in 2013 I sold them to Popeyes and I got out. So, but it started way before then. Like my brother and I always sort of like worked together, like even going as far back as like when we were like, I don't know, probably like I was probably like 9 years old, he was 4 years older than me. We were cruising around the neighborhood on, my dad had a ride on lawnmower, pulling the push lawnmower behind us with a weed whacker, going around cutting neighbors' lawns for, $40 at that time, right? Half-acre lots.
What is the dynamic? Like, what's the breakdown? Because like I have like kind of a rough idea of like, okay, if I need to get X, Y, and Z or X, Y, and Z answer, I know which one of you to go to.
Yeah.
But like in your mind, what are the skill sets that complement each other? Because like in passing, if you're walking quick, you could probably like mistake you guys for twins.
Yeah.
But you guys couldn't be more different.
Yeah,
what are
very
you
different.
good at? And what is he good at?
We're different, but I feel like we sort of share the same like vision and passion. And like he's a little bit, I think I'm a little bit more like oh my gosh, what's the word? Like I like to, he does too though, but he's different. Like I like to involve my friends, a lot of people. I'm probably a little bit more easier going. I probably see the good in people. You know what I mean? I'm optimistic. Where Noah, I think just through experience, through being a little older, through traveling the world, he's just like a little bit more like, hey, this person needs to earn my trust, or like prove it to me first. So I think he's the first to put his foot down and be like, hey, that's not right. We're not standing for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a good balance, because otherwise I think I would be too giving and too trusting. You know what I mean? Where
your brother's one step away from having hounds that he releases, right? Like that's, I always joke when I walk upstairs and I'm gonna go talk to him about something. I always joke that like one day he's just gonna like hit a little button under the desk and like 2 Rottweilers are just gonna charge at me or something.
Yeah. But dude, even before that, like when we were like, oh my gosh, I can't even remember the age, but like we were delivering newspapers together. Like it was newspapers. Then it was, cutting people's lawns, and it was shoveling driveways. We always just like work together, and you know what I mean?
Did your brother always have this? Because you mentioned like a big differentiating factor was like the age, but you also kind of talked a little bit about his experience going around the world and stuff like that. Did he have that? Was the dynamic the same when you were like shoveling driveways? Like, Mr. Smith stiffed us on the Christmas tip. Fuck this guy, we're only doing half. Like,
I think Noah and I were much different, but it's funny because like, so Noah, I feel like when he was growing up and like when he traveled and stuff, his experience was a lot different than mine. And I feel like he was kind of searching for like what was his purpose or what he liked or what he want. What was his passion? Me, I always knew what I wanted. It was like from a young age. I just talked to a friend from high school the other day. He just messaged me, and I did a post with like the Biggie shirt on my Instagram. He was like, yeah, it really resonates with me, man, because I wasn't good in school too, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, you know what, man? I said, he was like, how did you find your passion? How did you? And I said, dude, I was just always like really sure and knew what I wanted from a young age. I go, if I go back to my grade 7 art class book, you turn through the pages, and I should pull this up. I drew a picture of Kevin the Vrony, the bodybuilder, right? What was I, 12 years old, 11 years old?
Yeah, something like that.
I drew a picture of a BMW M3, which was like, I loved cars. I drew a picture of like a mansion house because I loved homes. It was like all the things that I did when I was like that young. I'm doing now.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like I went on to do, right? Even like when it comes to like a wife or a girlfriend, like all my friends, like as we were getting older, 12 years old, 13 years old, you have girlfriends, you're screwing around, talking about banging chicks and blah, blah, blah as you're getting older. And I just was never interested in any of that. I was like, I just want to find the one that I love and I trust and I share that like connection with, and I'm good. And then when I was 15 years old, grade 10, I found Rachel.
Is that what you guys met?
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Oh,
and it's like
shit.
that was my only girlfriend ever. I fell in love with her, and it was like, you know what I mean? I knew that's what I wanted. So it's like, I think that obviously the mind is very powerful in deciding what you want and envisioning it. And I feel like a lot of that confidence, though, actually came from like having my older brother, because I viewed him. So when I was coming up, he was younger than I was. So like I viewed him, and I thought he was the fucking best. I thought this guy was like, he's fucking jacked. He started working out, 4 years prior to me. He's building a great physique. I thought he was the most confident person in the world. Everyone respected him. He was a great hockey player. He was a cool guy in high school. But it was all it was all in my head. That's the way I viewed him. That wasn't the way when I grew up and I talked to other people that he was actually perceived or viewed. You know what I mean? But that's how I viewed him. And it gave me the confidence and like, hey, if my brother's like jacked and strong and like, great at hockey or a great athlete, I got the same job. I'm going to be that. So it gave me this confidence to know I believed in myself. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think I had an advantage having an older brother in that sense, that I was like, he led the way sort of, and I just capitalized on it. You guys
ever butted heads? Okay, stupid question. You're fucking in your 30s.
Yeah.
Guaranteed butted heads. What are some
honestly,
shut up. Me and this guy, we're close
All
to a
the
brother
time.
that I have, and we're at each other's throats.
Daily.
Yeah.
honestly, like there's been like a couple times where like, Noah can get like in his like, everyone has their ways, right?
Yeah.
And I have my ways, and I'm sure I get on his nerves, or because I'm so particular, right? It's like if we're building the gym or something's going on and something's not perfect, I'm like, nope, needs to be redone. We need to do this. Like I'm very particular, right? So I'm sure it does, but we've never like gotten to like a heated like.
That's crazy.
We've never fought. I can't remember a time where we didn't talk. We fought. It was like we kind of really understand each other. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Is that difficult then going into like business relationships, like having staff or having like sponsored athletes or whatever, where you haven't faced that like adversity in those decision making, because you are at least confident that this person, the vision's aligned, right?
We still face it though, because you got to remember, like in our business, like my sister's heavily involved. She's part owner of the company. My wife's involved. So there's still adversity and there's still conflict amongst the family.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whether it's like this person with that person, you're stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we still deal with it all the time, with family and close friends, and you know what I mean? Even with HD Muscle, like a lot of our athletes are like best friends, close friends. It's a tight-knit community, right? Yeah. So yeah, if someone's not pulling weight, it might piss someone else off, and then like you kind of, you know what I mean? Do you
think it's easier or harder than just having like, like, hey, I don't know you? Because obviously there's athletes that you sponsor.
Yes,
Let's go down that route. That like you don't really know, where it's more transactional.
Yeah.
But also it's like, if someone, there might be more of like an obligation within the family, like, oh fuck, you know what, you're right. I don't want to disappoint you, because you're not just my boss. You're also my brother or my cousin, whatever the fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tough, right? It's like even with athletes that we sponsor and stuff, obviously we're approaching 2 years now. And the first year, a lot of our contracts came up. And like, we kind of, everyone that we had on the team, we kind of like viewed them. We never wanted to add anyone that was short term. Everyone was sort of like, hey, we're trying to build a community. We're trying to build a team and grow with everyone. And obviously that's not the reality, right? Like things don't always work out. Everyone has a different vision or different goals. So it was really hard at first, like when, you lose an athlete or they chose another company or like, and you felt like you were connected with them. You felt like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And at first it was really upsetting and you take it personal almost, but just as a business owner, and I just like, after the first couple, I was like, you know what, you just have to put yourself in their shoes, and like everyone's goals and, are different, and they're going to have other opportunities presented to them. And as a business owner, you just got to like have thicker skin and just know that like, it's not personal, it's business. You know what I mean? Just like it's business for us. If an athlete's not pulling weight and we're paying them X amount of dollars and their contract's up, at first we were like, we don't want to like pay them less or offer them less, or like we always want to grow. But it's like, you can't pay for someone for poor performance, right?
Yeah.
So it goes both ways.
From like a business perspective, because that's like there's a weird melting pot now of like fitness and business,
which is
like
a weird
fitness
combination.
coaching turns into like business mentorships and all that. Like, what have been the bigger lessons on like the business side? Because it's hard to not take it personal when you turn a passion into a business, right?
Yeah.
It's not like we're sitting here talking about, I don't know, like you said, you're passionate about real estate, but like if we're real estate, because we look at it for an opportunity, we're sitting here talking about like cryptocurrency or some bullshit. It's like, well, this is, I'm doing this purely to make money. I don't have a vested interest personally or, you know, emotionally in AMC or fucking GameStop or whatever, right? So is it difficult, like on the business side, when your business is something that you're passionate about? Like, could you take your business acumen and move it into another career path that you're not passionate about?
I don't think I could ever do anything I'm not passionate about, because then it would feel like a job and it would feel like work. You know what I mean? And that was another conversation I had with that same person who was talking about finding his passion. It's like, literally, I feel like I'm so fortunate because I am passionate and I like so many things. And that was something I asked him. I was like, dude, like when you wake up in the morning, it's like, what do you love? Like, don't set a limitation on yourself. Don't think like, oh, like, you know, like what do you love? You're still young. You're 30 years old. Like you can do whatever you want. And for me, it's like, I love supplements. I love health. I love nutrition, right? And all that obviously is integrated with the supplement brand, the health side of the brand, you know, coaching clients. It's all sort of in that realm. But then like, I love training. I love fitness equipment. And I love like building things. I love building environments, communities. I love building the gym. And then it's like, if I didn't do those two things, I would love to be a general contractor and build homes. And so there's so many things I like, but that falls under the same, I get to still do that when we build the gyms.
Right.
Yeah.
So when we build the gyms, we get to come up with cool designs. We get to like be creative. So, you know what I mean? They're all sort of like integrated within one another.
The flip side of that to me is like, you don't ever want to feel like work, which is like why you pursue a passion from a business perspective. And I totally get that. I think we totally get that. However, on the flip side, I've often felt like my passion has turned into work. Right? Like there are times where I've been working out and that feels like, not like I enjoy working out, but if someone comes to me and like because you're not your brother, because Noah's got the patented fuck off look on his face.
Like
your brother,
you know,
and there's a
don't
pace
bug him.
too, the way he swings his arms, like, oh, this is a don't
But
talk to Noah day.
sometimes I wish like I feel like I have that, but then people still approach me.
Nah,
I'm kind of like,
you
am I smiling or something?
You're always smiling, man.
But
Like you versus
your
Noah.
reputation precedes you. That's what it is.
As a nice guy.
Yeah.
Like when I see you and Noah, I'm still convinced to this day, even though Noah knows who I am, I'm like, he's not going to know who I am when I say hi. But like you, I'm like, we know each other, we're friends. I see Noah, I'm like, he's just staring at me like, why are you here?
Yeah.
He's going to ask me for my membership card any moment now. And then kick my ass out.
Right.
Oh, that's funny.
But
you know, he's always been that way though. And I told him, I was like, we had a conversation recently, I think, and I was like, yeah, he just intimidated. He has an intimidating look, right? And I don't think he means to.
A strong brow.
He's just very strong, and it's like he was. Even when I was a kid, I was always like, a lot of the things I did, I always wanted to impress my brother, and I didn't want to upset him, or I didn't want to like, you know what I mean? It was almost like,
I feel that way still with your brother. It's your brother. I'm constantly sitting there like, I'm trying to like make him laugh.
But it's funny because he doesn't perceive himself that way.
Oh, dude.
You know what I mean? But I'm like, dude, you have this like aura that you demand, like, you know what I mean? It's funny.
I feel like at any moment your brother's just gonna snap his fingers at me. you there, come. But it's to my earlier point, like, I never bother Noah when he's working out.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
I just tip of the cap. Like I've been more cognizant of it because I've been more cognizant of myself. Like even yesterday when we were training, I just like took a wide berth around you and Cody was like, kind of giving me shit. Because like, oh, hey, Jordan. I was like, hey, you guys are fucking training, man. You know, it bothers me when people come up to me and I'm working out because then it starts to feel like work. Because this is the house that, you know, the Hamiltons built.
Yeah.
So do you ever feel like, even though you do what you're passionate about so you don't feel like work, do you ever feel like your passion turns into work?
I would say the only time I get like really overwhelmed or stressed out, it's like obviously I feel like I take on more than I can chew sometimes. And I feel like I can chew it and take it on, but then what happens is if I come in here and I got a million things on my mind, it's the things that you can't forecast that end up tipping me over the edge.
Yeah.
When I come in and it's like, the staff members like, oh, this happened and X, Y, and Z. And then it's like, because we have so many different businesses, we have the distribution with equipment too. And then so like, oh, this person, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And I didn't forecast that. And I'm already at 99%. You know what I mean? Like those things tip me over the edge. And then I just like get very, very, I don't know what the word is, but just like overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it's that's the only time where I feel like, oh man, like this is not fun or I'm not enjoying this, is when it gets like over that threshold.
A question I would have for you, almost like this, kind of in the same vein of what we're talking about, is like, I feel like Pure Muscle is very much a family affair. Like, number one, like everybody feels like family when I come here. Like I know everybody, everybody's super cool, but also like it is like, dude, your dad is like the ghost of Pure Muscle. Like can't turn a corner.
Dad's with the opera. He's in the pipes, man.
But it's like, and then like your mom's always here, and like your sister's doing media stuff, and like, what is that like? The idea that, like Jordan said, like when your passion turns into a job or your job turns into a passion, but also like what happens like when you hang out with your family on the weekend. Like I feel like you guys never don't see each other.
It's like a double-edged sword. And I said this to my wife the other day, because obviously like I've been extremely busy the last 6 months, right? Like trying to prep. Like years. Okay, years. But like throwing the prep into the mix. And you know what I mean? There's been a lot of moving parts, and a part of me is like, it's unbelievable to have your family around, and like people are like, that's so amazing. But at the same time, sometimes I go home at night and I'm like, fuck, my dad was at the gym and I didn't like really acknowledge him or say, hey, how you doing? I kind of brushed him off because I was in a rush and my mom was there, and I didn't like, it's like, then you start thinking, you're like, man, we're getting older. It's like, you're like, man, what happens if it was the last time I saw my parents? Or like, you know what I mean? So it's like quality time, I think, is better than all the time sometimes, right? So it's important, I think, that you still see them all the time, but going into the new year, I was telling Rachel, I was like, I really want to make it a point to like, my mom loves church and I love church, and I haven't been in like 2 years of COVID. I'm like, I want to make it a point every Sunday to go with my mom to church. It means a lot to her. Spend time with her, go out for lunch with her, because it's like, it's not the same when I come to the gym. It's like, hey mom, you know what I mean? And then she like ends up asking me something. What do you think about this? And I don't know. What do you think of this plant I bought? And then I'm annoyed, right? I'm like, mom, I don't give a shit right now. I'm going to train. I got a million things on my mind. That's like number like 200 on my list. It's not a priority, right? So it's a double-edged sword.
Well, that's something too. Like I've found great benefit in the relationships I have, and you're the same. Like one of the closest friends. And the second we leave the gym, we barely talk to each other. Because it's like, we come here, we talk bullshit, we have a laugh, we go on the road, whatever, but like, it's a completely separated church and state. Like I get to come here, it's a cool little playground, mess around with my friends.
You get to shut it off and
completely. And I'll stay here late, so it stays here. So like, I don't want to come home and be like, this guy reposted this share tag thing.
That's a really hard thing to do, to shut it off. I think that's like a skill.
She's not even in the industry.
Dude, I think that's like a skill to be able to develop that, because I'll say, like, when I go home sometimes, it's like, we'll be chilling there. I'll be, whatever, relaxing, me and Rachel, and we're like, whether we like to like watch certain movies or whatever. And I find myself like, what equipment is available on Facebook Marketplace right now? You know what I mean? What's on the market for real estate? What's, you know what I mean? That's like, I have a hard time shutting it off.
But is it harder because she's also vested in it? Well, not only just
she
like
shuts
emotion.
it off, no problem.
Really?
Rachel, 7 o'clock, she's totally done with work. She's good, man. She has her wine and she's chill. She's relaxed. Like, you know what I mean? Where I definitely have a hard time shutting it off.
The best thing I did was I actually took my office out of my home and moved it here. Was this like, it only exists while I'm here. Now I could be here at 5 a.m.
Yes.
You guys made the mistake of giving me a key to the front door. So I've been here at 5 a.m. I might go home at 9. But the second I'm home, it's contained by the space.
I think honestly, going to the new year, like when I just walked in here, you were like, I got a book. You know what I mean? I've never read a book in my life.
I can't wait.
Yeah, but it's like, it's because I want to actually like make a change going to the new year, and in my evenings, like relax, take more time for myself, for my family, and just create that little bit of balance, because I think it's going to help me work harder for a longer period of time, not get burnt out. You know what I mean? I think it's important. Mental health, I think, is like such a big thing. And, I think it's important to know when to push and pull.
Right. However, how long have you been doing this for? You were 17, how long, or 19?
Honestly, like actually hustling hard. And that's the thing. Someone asked me the other day, like, oh, you're so successful. You have the X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you know what, man? Right out of high school, dude, I didn't go out. I didn't drink. I didn't party. I didn't do nothing. I bought my first home when I was 24 years old, me and Rachel. And it's like, I was grinding right out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like right when I got out, open Pure Nutrition, and it was straight grind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that you're talking like I'm 34 now. So like, what are we talking? 15, 16, 18 years?
Yeah.
Like I'm 18 years deep.
Yeah.
It's like, so, you know what I mean? It's like, that's what you see now is 18 years of, you know what I mean?
The point I'm driving at is now you're reading a book.
Yeah.
Now you're reading a book.
Yeah.
Right? Because I can't
Yeah.
fucking stand people like that'll, before they start, they read the book.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm going to read The Art of War, then be an entrepreneur. It's like, nah, why don't you slog it for 18
Honestly,
years?
yeah. Me and
then
Noah, people were always like, what was your business plan? What was this? We were like, you know what, man? We believed in ourselves. We invested in ourselves. We put our money where our mouth was, and we just went all in.
Yeah.
And we just like muscled it. It's probably, I wouldn't recommend that for everyone, but we were just like, you know what? This is what we love. We're going to do it. We're going to make it happen. Let's just fucking do it, you know?
That's what everyone says, though. Anyone worth listening to says the exact same
story. Like, that's
well,
the thing.
At least in the passionate realm.
Yeah.
Because it's like, could you apply this to like a more business focused? Like, I really see an opportunity with psilocybin, so we're going to go all. It's like, but do you listen to the Grateful Dead? Well, no. Then it's not an industry for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But everyone who's ever made it pursuing a passion as a career has said that same story.
Yeah, there's fewer outliers. Like, there's no real outliers, right? Like, that's the thing. Everyone's like, oh, this guy's like an outlier. Like, he's like has an X factor. But it's like, no, it's like, they probably all said what you said. It's like, well, I just really like worked hard, and now 20 years later, like I have something cool. Because like for me, you and your brother were like of local names when I started working out in 2009.
Right.
It was like you and your brother, and you have the same last name as me, and you're fucking yoked. And I was like, these two dudes. I was like, this is what it is. But I think with the success of HD and Pure, there's a lot of people who recognize you now. Yeah. But for me, like, when Jordan called me
saw it all in full.
Exactly. And Jordan called me like 2.5 years ago, whatever. He's like, oh, we're going to train at this place Pure. Like, it's owned by you and Noah. And I was like, dude, that's a dream. Because like, for me, it was like you two, our friend Hayden. Those were the people when I got into fitness where I realized I was like, oh, I can make this a job. Like, you can make money doing this, and this could be a career, because I was doing construction. So I think that's the thing that people ignore is they see HD now and they see you guys and they're like, oh, look at what you have. It's like, dude, I didn't even see you guys from the beginning, but I saw you at least on the journey of like watching you on Animal and like seeing things like that. And I was like, oh, fuck, we're going to be like at a gym with those two dudes. Like, that's a dream for me.
So cool. And it's like, even with Pure Muscle, it's like how that even started was like, obviously, like, I love gyms. I had a gym at my house, 1,200 square foot gym. That was an amazing building. It was so much fun having my friends over. And with Pure Muscle, it was like we were actually looking for a warehouse for HD Muscle at that time. And then it was like Regan was like, hey, man, like, you know, if you guys are looking for a warehouse, I wouldn't mind moving Flexplex in London, getting something a little bit bigger because his lease was up. So we're like, all right, let's find a bigger spot and let's do like a little bit of a private gym for us and our friends and maybe like 50, 100 members. And then we'll have the warehouse in the back. And then we started doing it. Regan had other obligations. He was traveling, so he pulled out, and we had already committed to this spot, this one here, the OG side, and we started building it. And you know, we built it, and we had a wall up for the warehouse, and we started enjoying it so much. We were like, let's tear the wall down. Let's make it all gym. Let's put HD on the back burner, and let's just make this all gym, the 12,000 square feet. Yeah. Because we were having so much fun, like building it out with the equipment and stuff. Yeah. And we're like, let's just try and get 300 members. You know, it'll be profitable at that if we charge X amount based on our rent. And we did that and smashed it. And then we were like, okay, like we got something here. Like, and we saw there was a demand for it. People were loving the community, the gym. So we just expanded it and kept expanding it. And then, you know, we did HD the next year. So.
Well, it's funny because I remember the early stage concepts for HD, the supplements.
Yeah.
And then it disappeared. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, now we have, how big is this building?
Now it's, oh my gosh. So it's, I think it's 36,000 square feet. And then with we're going to have another 8,000 square foot addition. Yeah. So it'll be like 40 something thousand. Yeah. Yeah. It's cool.
It's ridiculous.
A lot of fun.
And the addition's going to be?
The addition, I think we're going to go with more of like a recovery center. So it'll be like infrared saunas, cold plunge, like all that sort of stuff for athletes to recover. More sport specific training we want to get into. And then maybe some more offices for like therapists, therapy and stuff like that. Maybe also, we're also thinking about having like maybe a yoga room, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just so we can offer different sort of amenities and, you know, so we're looking forward to that.
Where does it end? Because because fitness is circumscribed by a certain, like, you know, at a certain point you've done everything.
Yeah.
When we're scratching at, like, I don't know, an ice bucket and a yoga room, it's like, where to after that?
I mean, I would love like this building. I would love to buy this building in the future, and it's 80-something thousand. I would just love to have the ultimate, like, athletic performance bodybuilding fitness center where it's like you go there and it's just like every athlete's dream. You know what I mean? You have everything under one roof. It's just like amazing. You know, even like podcasts like this, like people go there and maybe like we make your room is like people can see it and it's like on like live on air and it looks cool and it's like, oh, that's where Jordan's podcast is. It's like at the top with glass and you know what I mean? It's just like to be able to create something that's just like really, really fucking special. Not saying that this isn't special, but there's levels to this.
Right.
Too,
yeah.
Like, you know?
You know what I always think of this place as, or like becoming? You would remember this. You might even remember this. Lundy will. Do you remember Wheels in Chatham, the hotel?
Yeah.
So it was a hotel in Chatham, but it was also a giant amusement park on the back.
That was the pinnacle.
That was like the pinnacle of like places to go in Southern Ontario between Windsor and here.
How sick would it be though to actually get like in the future, like if you could get a small piece of land and build like these like 15 little town condos and then like people can come in from like out of country and stay and like it's by the gym or
like a gym hostel. And that's always where
your mind.
That's what I think this becomes is like in Wall-E. It's like that circle planet where you like live and train and everything. It's just this bizarre like hostel commune of fitness.
It's not far off.
Well, have you seen like Alpha Land, like what Christian Guzman's done?
Exactly.
Hold on,
no, explain this to me.
I mean, I
it's
don't
incredible.
know in depth, but like he's created like the ultimate playground where
Lundy, pull it up.
Obviously, I don't think his gym is what this gym is, but it's still really cool. And like the design that he created, and like the lounge area is really cool. He's got basketball courts, like a football field. He's got like all these different. It's a massive complex.
It's
obviously
like the Apple campus, but for fitness.
Yeah. So Alpha Land, if you go to the,
where does
he just released
live?
a video. That's
Where
the old
this?
one. It's in Texas.
Oh shit.
If you go to his IG, he just released a video showing the compound and like the parking he has, but obviously the land where he built it's kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's free.
So it's like
You can live in
it's
Texas for
like almost like Dana Lynn's place there in Montana.
Yeah.
You know, you can buy like, you know, to buy that land here in Toronto.
Yeah. Good luck.
He just put a video out on his right there, showing it. You fast forward a bit, like it's all these buildings. It's like insane.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is.
Do you ever worry about straying too far from the roots? Like bodybuilding, I went back through my Facebook the other day for God knows what reason. And I literally, my friend Kevin High, whose friend Curtis DeLong.
I remember Kevin High, tall guy. Yeah, Kevin. Yeah.
So Curtis DeLong, who still trains here.
Curtis,
You prepped him.
Yep. Back in 20, it was one of my first, like, when I first started coaching people. Yeah.
Maybe
when
2011.
I first started coaching people, I sold
and
the stores.
there was, Kevin, if I go back to our correspondence, had posted pictures of you on my Facebook wall, training at the World Gym in, I met you in Mississauga, or Oakville?
Yeah, Mississauga, Oakville.
And I, like, okay, like you, bodybuilding is the heart of it.
Yeah.
Do you ever, or even now, like, do you ever worry about like straying too far? Because bodybuilders seemingly historically have a very, I don't want to say self-limiting, but like they're kind of like, that's not bodybuilding, right? That's not men's physique, that's not bodybuilding. Wellness, that's not bodybuilding. It's like, well, you know, at a certain point you're bringing more eyeballs and making this a more viable industry for everyone. But do you ever concern yourself with like, you know, like back in the day it was me and Noah and Frank and Antoine moved here and like there was no all these cameras. You ever worry about straying too far, or is that just like you evolving with the times?
Yeah, I feel like bodybuilding obviously is the heart of everything that we've created, right? But even with HD Muscle, for example, I knew right from the start that I didn't want it to be like a hardcore bodybuilding brand because you're just very you're limiting yourself, right? And I feel like, I don't want to say it's corny or cheesy, but I just feel like it's like you're just very limited, and I feel like focusing on health and wellness and having a professional series brand where it's products that like anyone can take to better themselves, whether they have high blood pressure, they're looking for heart care, like, and that's why with our marketing, a lot of it's like actually geared towards women as well, because it's like, we're going to get the bodybuilders. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, I feel like diversifying, and even with the gym, obviously when you go around Pure Muscle and Fitness, there's a ton of bodybuilding equipment. But now, expanding into the more sport specific, putting up some punching bags, if we can now bring in those other people that are doing other, you know what I mean? Like, they specialize in other backgrounds, right? Like, we've always had turf, but we're going to move that to the other side and really create more of a functional training, sport specific. I just don't want to limit ourselves just to bodybuilders. You know what I mean? Because I think we're going to get that either way, because that is the heart of everything.
Have you ever struggled with the media side of things, or like the social media side of things?
Yeah, I always hated being on the camera. Like, I hated, like, for example, like when I was with Animal, oh my gosh, that was so hard for me, man. Like, I don't know how many takes I took for a lot of those videos. I hated it. I think it's just having the confidence, right? And it's like just doing it. And I tell people now, like, once you just do it a couple times, a bunch of times, it just becomes normal, and you stop thinking and second guessing yourself, and not worried about what everyone thinks about every little specific detail, or you know what I mean?
It is one of the odd places where I don't feel weird having a camera out from like a work person, because I would say, I mean, it's, I don't know, like,
but
the
like
numbers.
you probably spoke in front of classrooms and stuff though, right? Like coming up, like doing
For
me, for example, when I was in elementary school, dude, I wouldn't show up on those days.
Shut up.
When there's projects, like we had nope, not there. Like,
really?
Oh, I hate
What about
it.
your brother?
Hate it. He was pretty good in school. I think he was like, he was probably like, I would say like a 75% student, where like I was like borderline passing.
Really?
Oh yeah, I didn't even show up.
Well, your brother too was probably used to larger crowds, right? Like, just given his music background.
Yeah, but he didn't do that at a young age, right?
I suppose,
So, he always played hockey, high level hockey. I honestly think I probably had ADD growing up, and I just couldn't pay attention. I'd be in the classroom, the teacher would be talking, I'd retain zero. They would be talking about that, like grade 7 or grade 8 when I started working out. I remember grade 9. I remember like I'd be sitting there writing out my workout like all day, spending like, I got to train chest today, and this is how many sets. I'd write everything out. I'd be thinking about my workout. I'd be thinking about, when I was in elementary school, I dirt bike, so I'd be like thinking about dirt biking, and you know what I mean? I would never be. I got exempted for French in like grade 5 because I hadn't had a hard enough time learning English.
Really? I didn't even know that was a thing. This is bullshit.
They were like, hey, let's Dorian's having a hard enough time with English. Let's not confuse the shit out of him here.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, how do you, like, obviously you've grown and evolved and learned, but like, what parts of the business do you gravitate towards now? Like, is it an equal distribution of work? Like, we kind of talked a little bit about the split between you and your brother, like a personality where like, your brother's a little bit more of the gatekeeper, like, no, like, we're not going to give this whole fucking thing away to everyone. This is going to be fair. We put in a lot of work. But from like an actual, how does that translate to, okay, splitting up roles? You are going to do this. I am going to do this. You manage athlete, whatever. I'm going to manage supply chain, whatever.
Yeah. I think I'm sort of more so when it comes to HD Muscle, more so the direction of the brand, the products, the education, sort of what we stand for in terms of products. You know what I mean? Collectively, my sister and my brother and I, we decide now with athletes and stuff like that. But yeah, I would say I'm more so like, I don't know what you would call that, but like formulations and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, like more
design,
big picture direction.
Yeah,
stuff.
also design, the early stages, I'm very particular with design. So I designed all the labels, the look, the colors. But then bringing my sister on, and she comes from an art and fashion background, and she knew nothing about the industry. We were launching in like 5 days. I pulled my sister aside, and I'm like, yo, Mariah, like the social media thing, like, we got to like start social media for HD Muscle. I don't know where to start. And I was like, can you leave your job and like work for us?
Come on.
Yeah. Cause so she was like, she fucking went all in with us, and she's unbelievable. I would say she's one of the best in the industry.
For sure.
Like her look, her attention to detail, design. So she does all of our socials. She does all the design, works with the graphic artists, a lot of the apparel and stuff. She runs it by me. So we do it sort of together. But yeah, so she's sort of taken over that role, which is nice. And I'm just more so focused on, product development.
Yeah.
And going forward into the future here, we have a big list of new products coming out with that's going to be heavily a lot of focus on education, you know, with like doctors and stuff, explaining the products and how people can be healthier and use these products to better themselves.
Right.
So
was it always systematized like that, or like in the early stages? Like I'm imagining two, 19, 23-year-old kids in a supplement store. Mm-hmm. It was like everyone was all hands on deck until it got done. Like when did the personality type start to differentiate who did what?
I would say like right from the beginning, actually. Noah was always more like handling the books, the finances.
Okay, so you're mowing lawns and Noah's like, yo, pay the man.
Back then, no, it was equal. It was equal then. But then when we got into the supplement store, he really took initiative to do all the accounts receivable. Him probably just being a little bit older, me being 19 years old. He knew that I was passionate about supplements. I knew products. I knew brands. I knew ingredients. So like I was more like, hey, we got to have this brand, this product, this pre-workout, this protein, because I knew in detail about the products because I was using them, like experimenting with stuff like crazy because I was trying to be a natural bodybuilder at that time too, right?
Right.
So
what did your parents say when you come to them like, all right, Dad, this is what we're going to do? Because here's my kicker. I co-opted a place and everyone's in prison now. Can I have a bit of money to pick up the helm or the gauntlet of this store?
Honestly, my dad was like, he's always been like our biggest supporter. So like whatever we want to do, he's like supported us 110%. My mom is just kind of like, she's relaxed. She believes in us, so she knows whatever we decide is going to be good. Yeah, you know what I mean. But my dad's like, he gets really excited about.
Your dad does get really excited.
And it gets me excited. What we're doing.
Your dad's a man.
He's number one supporter. Yeah. He would like, back then when he was doing well financially with real estate, and he was like, he was basically like at that time like, whatever you guys need, like we if we were in a pinch, we go to him, he'd get us out, right? Yeah. So obviously we made a lot of mistakes in the early stages, right? So he was always there to pick us up if we. It
was a great Tom impression, by the way. Yeah. Felt like you were saying.
Yeah.
Now, what do you guys? So the expansion on the gym, expansion of the line. Where are you guys like expanding physical locations? Like, are we going to see Pure Muscle in other countries?
Yeah, we actually tomorrow we're actually going to check out another spot.
Stop it! Yeah, exclusive. Yeah. I feel like we're one of those like insider bodybuilding channels now.
So we'll see. We do have a couple other areas that we've been looking. 2 areas in the USA as well. So like it would be very slow and steady and very quality. Yeah. You know what I mean? We're not looking to conquer the world, but like any locations that we did open up, we want them to be special. We want them to have purpose, and you know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, it definitely is something on the radar.
I don't know how you do it, man. And I don't know how you do it without like help.
Yeah, well, that's something we need to pay more attention to now at this point, is like more internal help. And you know what I mean? Because even with HD Muscle, it's like year 1 going into year 2, we had this huge team of athletes, but then it was like me, Noah, my sister, and Mariah running everything, and we're like, oh my gosh, okay, we got to bring on like help. Yeah.
I feel like when we do this next podcast, I want to see how next podcast is just going to be a book report on the art of war. To see if you've made enough time, because like it sounds like you're doing more things than ever. Yeah. And trying to do it in less time. So I'm wishing you all the best with that. But I appreciate your time, man. Appreciate obviously the hospitality and letting us crash in this small little corner and letting us tear down the bathroom and letting us continue to. It's
been awesome
cause
having
a ruckus.
You guys here.
Yeah, man. So we'll have you back on again. I want to get more into detail on the supplement side of things. Like I'm really interested in. It's obviously been an industry that hasn't been without its faults. And like being able to navigate that, but I think we'll save that for like a more elaborate conversation. Have your brother on.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Just sitting here and have him judge us the entire time. Yeah. Just judgy eyes. But yeah, I appreciate everything, man. So at Dorian Hamilton on Instagram, at HD Muscle.
Dorian_Hamilton.
Is it underscore? You're Killian Hamilton. Lumberjack Productions. RX'D Radio. HD Muscle, and at Pure Muscle and Fitness.
That's right.
Cool. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.